Well, hello again. I imagine it's a tough act to follow anyone cuter than Titus. And another round of applause for Cleo. She just did a great job. As I've said before, I'm Catherine Galogli of the White House Office of Public Engagement, and it is my privilege today to introduce Jimmy Graham to the stage. Jimmy is an American football tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. He was born in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and at age 11, he was placed in a group home by his mother, where he was beaten by older children. In high school, with the help from a church youth counselor who took him in and eventually adopted him, he improved his grades, became a basketball star, and earned a basketball scholarship at the University of Miami. He is now an amazing tight end, and we all get to watch him on TV, and we're so pleased that he's joined us here today. Jimmy?
Good morning. How you guys doing? Another round of applause to Cleo and her family. Truly amazing. Really is, and we need more people like you two. We really do. You know, when I was called and reached out to come here, I was thinking about what I was gonna talk about, and you know, how I was gonna write this speech, and I didn't write it. You know, I'm just gonna speak from the heart, because this is so close to home for me, and I assume me being up here, most people think, you know, what's this meathead gonna talk about? You know, is he gonna talk about, you know, lifting weights and scoring touchdowns? But I'm gonna just share a little bit about my life. And early in my life, I guess my worth was showed to me by my mother and my stepfather. First, a story about my stepfather. He was the man in my life who taught me everything that I knew, and he taught me how to be a man, and he taught me literally how to tie my shoes and how to put down the toilet seat. He literally taught me everything, and growing up, unfortunately around my house, love wasn't a word that was used very much. But I truly loved him, and I believe that he truly loved me. And I remember about the age 9, my mom, she had left me with him for about 6 months. They were kind of separated at the time, and everything was fine, but my mother was collecting a check from my father, which was $98 a month. And my stepfather, he wanted that $98 because he felt like he was taking care of me, and he felt like he deserved that money. And unfortunately, my mother wouldn't give it to me, so one afternoon, he puts me in the car, and he drives me to social services, and he drops me off and tells my mother to come pick me up. So, you know, at the age of 9, I was shown my worth from the one man that I loved, which was $98. And you know, at the time, I tried to pretend like it wasn't him, or it wasn't. There was different circumstances, but truly, you know, he gave me up for $98 a month. About a year later, you know, I lived with my mother, and we moved in with her boyfriend at the time, who was also fairly physical with me. You know, if I wouldn't listen to my mother, well, you know, he would show me how I should listen to him. And my sister at the time, she had actually been in foster care for about 5 years, pretty much all of her teen life. My mother put her in there when she was about 12, and so I kind of saw the system through my sister, you know, taking visits, and unfortunately, where she was, it wasn't, you know, it wasn't all roses. It was, you know, I remember coming through the door, and you know, a girl is choking her in the corner, and that was our visit. And so for her, I never thought that I would be in that situation. I felt like, okay, you know, they got rid of her, and so I was just trying to figure myself out. Unfortunately, about a year after living with my mother, I fell asleep in the car, and I woke up in a group home. It was a group home-esque. It used to be an orphanage, and now it was half an orphanage, and the other half, it was the court would send kids there for a second chance. So if you had drug issues, or if you were selling, or any kind of thing like that, they would put you in there as kind of a second chance with these orphans to kind of rehab. So I'll never forget that day, just all the images, just literally, how hot it was outside, and literally waking up in the car, my mother telling me to get out, and locking the doors, and the police officers coming, getting me out of the car, and then bringing me to a long table with a bunch of grown men and women. And I saw my mother give me away right there, and I remember stepping out of there, and she took my clothes and put them in garbage bags and put them on the ground and drove away. So that also was the second time that I saw what my worth was as a young boy, and it didn't seem like too much. I cried myself to sleep that night, and probably for about a month, because I was trapped. I just wanted an opportunity to just run away, to maybe take care of myself somehow, and for some reason, everyone that had loved me, or everyone who had responsibility over me, gave me away, and didn't see my worth at all. And so, a quick story about that place. It was clearly orphans and the second chance kids. I remember we were all in a van, and I think we're going to see a movie. And so the people over my house, they went into the store and they left us in the van. And then everyone in the van got a turn punching me, which ended up being just me getting jumped in the back of the van. And I remember I was down in the seat stuck, and I was getting stomped and kicked and beaten in all type of ways. And then that night I call my mother, and I tell her what happens, and she just hangs up on me. So, for the third time, I'm told, kind of what my worth is, and being scared, now, I'm 6'7", 270 pounds. I'm not scared of much. But as an 11-year-old boy, I was very scared, and because I'd seen my sister through it for 5 years, I thought that was going to be what I was going to have to put up with for the next 7 years. Well, 9 months later, after literally fighting my way kind of through that system, my mother one day came back and took me home, shockingly. And for the next 2 years, I took care of myself, and I would stay at friends' house, and I pretty much relied on everyone around me to almost feed me. My mother truly was never around. She was always working, or she was always doing something for herself. She found more comfort in men than her own son. Fortunately, I found a mentor like a bunch of these champions here today, and her name was Rebecca Vincent. When I was in 8th grade, I started going to this thing called House Church, and they had free food and pretty girls. So, so I said, food and girls, I'll be there. And at first, she really reached out to me, and she would drive me back home and always ask me questions, and I was just happy to get some food, and then eventually, I remember they were having a prayer, and she told me, do you have anything to pray about? And I remember saying, I just want to pray that my mom doesn't put me back in that home. And for the next year, Becky took care of me. She told me and showed me what my worth truly was. She was the first woman that told me that I was smart. She was the first woman to tell me that I was beautiful and that I could do anything I put my heart to. And so a year later, she took me into her home, and I lived with her and her daughter. That year, she made $12,000, and there was 3 of us in a trailer. And, we didn't have heat. We slept on the couch, and we turned on the oven. And even though we didn't have money and we didn't have those things, she showed me love, and we had love. And at that time in my life, that's what I needed the most. I needed someone to love me, and I needed someone to show me my worth. And so my grades at the time were F, and I brought all my grades back to an A, and for the next 3 years, I had all A's. And so since then, I went to the University of Miami, and I graduated with a double major in business management and marketing. And and truly, as I sit before you today, I'm still that scared young boy. But for me, I'm scared in different ways, and I'm scared to fail, really. And that's what motivates me in life, and that's what motivates me to be the person that I am. And I'm very humbled to be here and share my story with all these champions today. Truly, you have overcome so much that, like the Secretary said, that for the rest of your life, everything else is going to be a breeze. It truly will be. And to the mentors today, you don't understand how important the work that you do is. For a kid like me who truly has a 1% chance that everyone thinks can do nothing and everyone thinks has a $98 worth, you truly show us how much that we truly mean. Thank you.